Welcome to Cruising Altitude, the podcast where we rise above the turbulence of life and step into the freedom, clarity, and luxury of living life at our highest level. I'm Kelly O'Shea, business development consultant, private jet advisor, investor relations specialist, author, solo mom, and living proof that you can crash into life's turbulence, pick up the pieces, and still arrive in style. Whether you're navigating business, healing, or building a life that feels limitless, this is your boarding pass to living a life you were brave enough to chase. So buckle up, we're ready for takeoff. All right, welcome to Cruising Altitude episode 3, Jet Setter. I'm here today with Blakely Giordano, Fake Lips, Real Talk, and I'm so excited because I've known Blakely actually since 2014, the year we both got married. She was working for me in PR, and so that was 2014, and then in 2015 I had Dylan, and you had a baby in you had a few.
Feels like I had a baby every year.
You had a couple right back to back. It was
2015 and 2016, yeah.
Okay.
Back to back.
And then Magellan Jets fired me for the first time after I had a baby, and we got into baby brands, and then we got on Instagram for the first time, really, and that was 2015. So, wow, has PR and social media changed?
That was I think the beginning for the PR landscape of its shift to digital.
Yeah.
I think before then, print was still a really big deal. And it was honestly my first time navigating Instagram as anything but a mom who posted pictures of her kids. So
right, but I also feel like we were kind of lucky in that timing because it seemed like that was when being a mom became a little bit more glamorous, right? I remember getting real excited for the baby shower, which by the way was a year ago this past weekend. I had a little pumpkin baby shower and you were helping me decorate.
I do remember she had a fall themed baby, not to blow up her spot. Sorry. She had a fall themed baby shower. And the amount of leaf paraphernalia that was distributed amongst the, you can never have enough pumpkins, I guess.
Yes.
I also won the Guess How Big Her Belly Is, which, by the way, is the worst game ever. Nobody wins that game. That was, how many years ago today? 10?
10 years ago today.
10 years ago, or I guess a few days ago. Was that today?
It was on Saturday.
Okay,
Saturday was the anniversary, yeah.
So that was... I can't believe that was a decade ago.
I can't believe it was that, and it's crazy because having Dylan was the best thing that ever happened to me, but then this decade was the most challenging. So I say all the time, it's almost like God was like, okay, here's your life rafts, right, in the form of Dylan and Bailey. Right. Life is about to get real hard because I don't think I could have gone through all of that without Dylan, for sure.
Well, you probably wouldn't have had the motivation to go through it all without him. I mean, he's a beautiful reason.
Thank
right?
you. Yeah. Well, and I remember, obviously, and my book talks a lot about it. Really ignoring some red flags, obviously. Aside from the fact that Charles and I drank too much, we were different on religion and politics. And, I just think that I overlooked those things because I did want to have a child and because we were very codependent. But, we made a beautiful child. And I wanted, even when I was dating Charles, I was like, I can't wait to make children with this man because I want to see a child who's just like Charles, but without the negative, right? Without the drinking.
This and this. Well, Charles, he was, he was so smart, and so accomplished, and so likable, and no, none of us are perfect. I would hope that my kids get only the good parts of me too, but I'm pretty sure they'll probably inherit some of my, certain intricacies, right? But I think there was so much you really did. I know how different you were, but I know how much you adored him. And I know how much you believed in him too. Obviously you overlooked a lot, but some of it I think you probably just believed in him more than he did in himself.
Well, he was so smart, and that was just a fact. He was a genius. And I think I was mesmerized because I've never seen someone so smart, get that messed up, right? Because prior to this, my relationship with Cliff, we were in San Diego. We were waiting tables. We didn't have big jobs. Right. We weren't passing the bar exam.
You're you have it together, so you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're a lawyer. Yeah. You pass the bar exam high on cocaine, we're going to be fine.
The cocaine was a performance-enhancing drug in law.
Yeah, before fentanyl.
Maybe I would have done better in college had I been on some blow. That was my downfall. I wasn't doing any drugs.
There you go.
Damn. Sorry, Mom and Dad.
But no, that's certainly that's why I stayed in so long. Not only was he a genius, he was also an incredibly sweet, wonderful man. Like, and I think that's what people, don't understand. Like Cliff, the narcissist, he was not a wonderful man. He didn't care about me at all. Charles loved me. He really loved me. I feel we always said that, we were each other's people. And I miss that safety and security. I miss having that rock, but I don't miss the benders because they were so traumatic. And so that's why the past, 5 years I've just been healing, but, and not really focusing on other relationships. Because we just talked about this, I think children, they don't need two parents if the parents are fighting and using the child as bait against each other. Right. Or if, Charles was still alive, I would probably still be drinking and probably still working and like as much as I was and pretending everything was fine when I was miserable. And kids they don't thrive in that type of environment. I think they thrive even if it's just one parent, if it's a good parent.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Every kid needs stability. And if, you're never going to find that there. So I think your choice to walk away from somebody you love, because you didn't walk away out of lack of love, right? It was out of lack of safety. Right. And at the end of the day, like, love isn't enough. It like marriage requires partnership and safety and all of those things. And you can love somebody to death, but if, they're not a safe, healthy person to be married to, you actually aren't loving them by staying, with them. And you're ultimately, Dylan was your reason for being before him. You probably didn't have the reason to leave. Yeah. Right,
exactly. And so, I talk about a few points in this chapter where we were packing for Florida and he was on a bender that week and it was, very stressful, obviously. And I could tell that he was drinking. And when I asked him, he denied it. And I told him I was really upset about it. He's like, I can tell. And just not really showing no empathy. And I think I kind of knew then that it wasn't going to work because he was lying to me. And I remember going to, we were married in a Catholic church, so we had to go to marriage training. And they said that you can cheat on your spouse with another person, but you could also cheat with finances, with work, or with alcohol. So I felt like he was cheating on me with alcohol. I was his wife, and I was the mother of his child. I deserved to know if he was going to try to drink again like a normal person because he didn't have a good track record. Track record on that, right? And I would try to have conversations with him sober at the dinner table, like, we need to protect this family from the drunk version of you, but he couldn't even face that. And so that's the thing. And we talked about this too. It's the work, right? I hear him say to me in meditation all the time, I could never do as much the work that you've done on yourself these past 4 years, ever, ever. And that was when he told me, when the day that I left him, he had said to me that Dylan and I would be fine. Please let him go. And I think at that moment, I just knew he didn't want to get better for himself. And you have to want to get better for yourself or it's not going to work, And so that was when I left because I felt like Dylan and I deserve better. And also I knew that children have solid memories after 4. So
yeah, that was a really interesting thing. Yeah. I didn't know until you told me.
That's how badly I wanted it to work with
every
Charles.
Time I'm like, he won't even, I'm not going to throw you a birthday party. You're not even going to remember.
Who cares? All the places I took Dylan for vacation, he doesn't remember.
All those mommy and me classes and you were in every single one.
I was at music at 2 months.
I would be holding Finn at home being like, should we be doing something? Like, you don't want to go anywhere, right?
Psycho. Yeah. But that was a part of it. I think I just, wasn't happy and I was trying to fill my schedule. But no, also, I really loved having a child and I certainly went all in, which is why I'm not sad about being a solo parent. But that's also why I don't really date because I don't have him half the time. I have him 100% of the time. And even now, this was the first year that he's independent enough to stay home alone for a few hours. Great. But I've had to use that time to kind of go out and network for my career or use the time, on myself or with friends. And that's been good for me. And I think that I need that before I needed like the romance because the dating world is really scary out there. And like being on social media is the worst because the amount of DMs I get from strangers who don't even live anywhere near here. Yes. I'm like, okay, no, thank you.
I just want a pen pal.
Yeah.
A really pretty one.
Exactly. So what about you? So when I left and came down to Florida a few years before you.
Yeah.
So you were still doing the Instagram game. And how did you find it, navigating your way in Instagram after you kind of left PR?
Well, working for you was a really great opportunity because I had no experience in a professional capacity about content creation, and sort of we were learning that as I think, not to blow up our spot at all, but I think we kind of offered it as we were learning how to do
we'll figure it out.
I did have some experience before I came to work for you. I worked on the social media team at a marketing agency, and so I knew what big brands did in terms of their social media, and so I tried to pare that down. But when I go back and I look at the content we created, I think for the time it was like cool and on par, and now I think social media has just continued to be this really booming landscape, and it's, you know, people don't take it seriously. They're like, oh, I can get my, you know, college age niece to like handle my Instagram. It's both an art and a science. There's analytics, there's all the same things you would find in traditional marketing. It apply to social media. It's just, you know, your crazy like Aunt Nancy also has an Instagram, but that's not the same thing as being a content creator. So at first I was doing it professionally with you, and then after I took on a few private clients, and I really loved that I really found a lot of happiness doing that. But I went on to have 2 more kids. I have 4 in total because I'm nuts. And you know, my content kind of shifted from when I was working for you and we'd go to Vogue. I would be posting that, and that's why people started following me, because they thought that was sort of cool and glamorous. Although, like, it really wasn't. We were
working so hard.
We were working so hard and so long, and people were yelling at us all the time. And we were like, we're doing the best we can. And it really was just you and I. Yeah. Like, for a while, it was just you and I. And you were going through a really traumatic period and working your tush off, and I like to think that like we were a good team when we did that. And yeah, I just remember loving working really hard. That has been a perpetual my mother is like that, my stepdad is like that, my husband is like that. If you're gonna do something, be good at it. And once I had 4 kids, I just wasn't as good at it anymore, and people started following me for different reasons. And so now I have a following of a bunch of ladies who for some reason or other find my brand of nonsense like kind of entertaining. And I do it mostly for fun now. There's a small monetary benefit, but it's nothing to write home about.
But let's talk about the 4 kids, because, and I remember when you had your 1 and then you were pregnant with your 2, and you said you wanted to have another 2 in a few years.
Did I say that?
You did.
I did.
And then to have both sets would be close in age.
I was probably just like high
you
on
manifested
when I said that. I don't remember saying that.
But now that I see it, the parents of 3 and 4 kids are something else, man. And when I see it, I'm like, I feel like I'm like sitting next to God, like he's my bestie. And I'm like, you got me. You knew I couldn't handle that.
Well, so I have moms who say to me all the time, they will be like, I could never. And I want to be like, sis, nobody's going to make you.
Yeah,
this was a choice that I made. And it's definitely not, it is not for everybody. And it is a different version of what I've realized too, is watching my friends of like 1 or 2 kids parent. It's totally zone coverage. Like what I have going on, I'm more like classroom management where I just stay on the perimeter and like hope nobody really veers off. But I'm also like, I was an only child until I was a teenager. And so this is my first experience like watching siblings interact. And what I would have given to like be one of them, like I want to die and come back as one of them, because it is Animal House nonstop. And my mom will be like, I have to call you back. I cannot listen to the background because somebody's like, Mom, my shoe's falling out. Like it's a video game is blasting, the dog is barking, and 3 different kids are yelling. It is a certain brand of chaos I really like. It is definitely not for everybody, and I definitely don't advise it unless you're really, really committed to living in absolute madness. But I really always wanted a lot of kids. But it's also
beautiful. Yeah, you really did. You said you wanted 4, and the 2 sets would be that far apart. And I'm like, look at her, and she did it.
I really
boy,
did it.
Girl.
Well, now, Mike, we're done. Like, we're done medically, right? And he looked at me the other day. He's like, I think I need another baby. And I was like, I think you need a second wife. That feels like a problem for your second wife to handle.
Oh, my God. I love it. But so, and then when did you come down to Florida?
We came down almost, so 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
2.5 years. My parents moved down here right after like the hit of COVID. My youngest sister flew the nest. and left us. And they moved down here first. My mom is from Palm Beach originally, so she had always, throughout my childhood, she tried moving us down here a bunch of times and just like couldn't get out of the New York area. Mm-hmm. They moved down here first. Our youngest got really sick and was in the ICU for a month. And I think during that, we just built our house, and a lot of like traumatic stuff all just happened one on top of the other. And I was like, living near family, you know, you cannot trade that. So we moved from our like newly built, we had like custom built a house over the course of 2 years, and we lived in it for 4 months before we moved. And it was the best thing we ever did. I love being able to bike to the beach. The beach is halfway on my run in the mornings. So when I'm working out, I can literally take off my shoes, put my phone in my shoes, cool off in the ocean, and keep going. And I'm like, who gets to do that? It's an unreal way of life. People who were raised in Florida, like, it's such a gift. I was raised in New Jersey. The beach was like down the shore, and it was brown and muddy.
Yeah.
So it's been a real gift. It's incredibly different to Texas where we lived before, but I love it for all the same reasons you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even though I went through all that trauma, you know, the same thing. Like my book came out in May, and I had like a bit of a panic attack after that, because I was like, wait, it was one thing to write it. It was very beautiful, but to go out and talk about it on social media was a little much for me. So every day this summer, I challenged myself to walk on the beach, because again, I'm 5 miles from it. It was so nice. It's just so grounding. And when you walk on it, it's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. You're like, I can't believe I live here. Like, and again, this book talks a lot about the first half of my life. I was like projecting things. I wanted to make things like they were in the movies, right? And like, it's just not how it is. So I thought forever that I was meant to be like a California girl, but I think it was always Florida. You know, you have these little visions when you're younger of like your future self. And so I think that all along I was meant to be in Florida, which is, you know, great. But I want to read a part about my book, speaking of the women in your family.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell them that they're in this.
I know. Well, that's how you know that I haven't had a lot of positive.
Oh, and my grandmother just is coming out with her book. It's called You Don't Look Like an Astronaut's Wife. So you guys will have to misery over being published authors together.
I love that.
I haven't read her book, but Grandma, I will.
Blakely's more of an audio book listener.
Yeah, I'm more in the car. I told Kelly, I was like, I have ordered your book. The only pages I've been able to read are the ones you've sent me or posted on Instagram. I'm so sorry. But I was there for it.
Exactly. But also, you know, I think it's just, for me, I mean, sorry to the world, but I don't really like that many people. I just really like you. I always have. I've always just adored you. And,
thank you.
You know, your family is amazing. And that's the thing. Like, I am more, to your point, talking about big family. I wanted that growing up because my older sisters were gone, like from when I was 10 on. And I had a lot of chaos, unfortunately, in my house too. And I was being neglected a little bit because my parents loved happy hour. And I wish I had siblings, you know, and growing up, that's why, that is why I bought the house in Jupiter, because I wanted Dylan to have the safety and security and stability of being in the same home from kindergarten to 12th grade.
And have a community. Like, he has great people that, you know, family also comes in so many different shapes and forms. And you being amongst other people with kids his age and him growing up with the same lifelong friends, that's character building.
Exactly.
Stuff, yeah.
And even we're like doing new traditions. So ever since Charles passed, you know, Thanksgiving is our birthdays. So we've always gone away. And so that's exciting for us. We don't really love turkey, and, you know, and so it's a good opportunity to go away. But then Christmas, you know.
I don't love turkey either.
Yeah, so
why do we make the grossest food ever?
I
love all the accoutrement. The turkey's just kind of the bowl with which the rest of it sits on.
I mean, and I like the vibe and the football and everything, but honestly, it's not the same down in Florida anyway. And so I'm like, they're off for a whole week.
I just turn the AC down and
Me
put
too.
on the sweater. I'm like, it is fall.
Me too.
It is fall.
Every Sunday
if
it's
there's
65.
a pumpkin candle burning, it's fall.
This is why I
Your
love
house
her.
was always, to Kelly, like every holiday, it was like somebody gave Joanna Gaines meth. She, like, the garland and the things, I'd be like, it's October 1st, and she'd be like, there needs to be more pumpkins. So, like, I was like, I didn't know what she was clutching so deep down.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, now that I know, I'm like, it wasn't about the pumpkins.
It was a cover-up. Because the more pumpkins, the less people will know that my life is falling apart.
I was like, Jesus, this is a lot of planned photo shoots. Okay.
I know. You walked into my house, it was like Facebook exploded on our walls because I was like, we're happy. I promise.
I swear to God, who would take this many pictures if they were
miserable. Yeah. Who would go away every week, every month?
Yeah, well, you know what? When you're miserable, you don't want to be miserable. Like, you don't be miserable and stuck where you are doing nothing.
Right.
So if you're always busy, if you always have something on the calendar, if you always have another project, I think when I was reading, sorry to I totally hijacked.
It's okay.
I was reading the pages you sent me about when things were really bad, you still were like, well, we'll plan for another baby.
Right.
Because if there was something else good down the pipeline, you didn't have to go like, okay, this is shit. It's all falling apart. I'm probably not going to get what I wanted. If you could just be like, this next thing, we'll get a dog.
Yeah.
We'll get married.
Yeah.
We will get married. We'll have the perfect Cape Cod
Well, it started,
wedding.
we'll move to Connecticut.
We'll move to
And he
Connecticut.
didn't even want to, but then he went on a bender, and I was like, oh, yay, now we can move. Now you have to give me what I want.
You have to give me what I want, and we're going to go move to Connecticut, because that's what people who have their life together do.
Exactly.
Everybody who has their life together moves to Connecticut. Write that down.
In Greenwich or Darien.
In Greenwich or Darien.
Or
If
New
you live
Canaan.
in Fairfield County, you have your life together.
Yes.
So that was like Kelly's like number one. We will move to Connecticut. We will have picturesque Cape Cod wedding.
Bora Bora honeymoon.
Bora Bora honeymoon. Doesn't like process be damned. Like our family's all mad at it. Doesn't matter. I've got the dress. You had this beautiful engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
Stunning. At the time I was like,
I know.
oh my God. And meanwhile, like I was like doing the mason jar wedding, you know, because we couldn't afford to like slap two things together. It's also a shotgun wedding. Oops. Sorry, Granny.
It's okay. Yours lasted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, TikTok. I introduced him as my first husband. No. I love you, Mike.
We
Sorry.
love you.
Sorry. I'm not supposed to say that on air.
You have to invite me over because I want to meet Mike after all he's done all this work you mentioned.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Because
it's different.
There's not a lot of men that have done the work.
Yeah. Shout out to...
I have to see done the work. I have to meet done the work, Mike.
Shout out to the men who do the work. Honestly, like, it's worth it in spades. What was I going to say? So you got married, and then there was a baby.
The checklist.
And then
the dog.
was, the dog and the baby.
One thing after another.
And one thing after another. And it was just, did you think, like, if I just keep running,
Yes.
if I never have to stop, I'll never have to take a look at what this really is.
And also, though, signs from God. Like, God will tell me when it's enough. Like, if this is meant to be, we're going to get Dylan right away, right?
Right.
You know? But yes, I couldn't, like, I couldn't, because honestly, Blakely, this is the truth. I loved New York when I was a glamorous publicist. I didn't love New York when I was engaged. So I hated New York, actually. Even the whole time I was with Charles, I was only doing it because he liked it.
Right.
Thinking at the end, we're going to move where I want to move.
Right.
And I didn't really like Connecticut either, because, like, yeah, those houses are great, but there's, like, one main street. The husbands are gone all day. They come home. I mean, it's just, to me, there's no life there. There's no, like, the women couldn't really go out because their husbands were going to be home. And they had to have dinner for them. And it just was really depressing, honestly.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a big house.
And you didn't want to be that woman. You worked, and you are a vibrant person with, like, a life.
Right. Thank you. But the women there who worked never saw their kids because they're in the city all the time.
Well,
so I was
and
like,
they have to
there's
work
gotta be another way.
18 hours a day to afford the fancy private school they go to.
And I just couldn't get excited about a $1 million fixer-upper in Norotan Heights, Darien, where the nannies usually live, because that's like the starter homes.
$1 million starter home. I mean, that we laugh. It's the same thing down here.
It's gotten there down here now.
Down here, I like the fact that somebody told me recently. They're like, "Well, I found this house for $850," and I'm like, "That's a steal." I'm like, $850,000 is so much money,
right?
And like the way living in these areas like deludes your thinking. I'm like, I have to like flick myself and be like, that should be a mansion, but it's not.
But yeah, so to your point, all those things, right? And then as soon as we started trying for the girl and it didn't happen, that was when I was starting to be like, okay, this might not work out. Maybe I was just meant to have Dylan with him, because then, you know, but then when Steve, when he had that bender and we're packing for Florida, our neighbor called and said, I think you should leave him. And I said, I remember looking out the window that day and I was like, okay, I'm very resourceful. I was like, I'm not going to leave him now. I'm going to get down to Florida on his company and then take a close look at the single moms, because I felt like there were more in Florida. And then I'll leave. And then I'll prepare to leave, right? Because I wasn't even prepared. I had to face reality, though. And reality would be easier to face in the sun.
Was there like, my hope is things all work out.
Yes.
But I'm moving knowing that if I need to launch,
I'm going to launch
this is a better place to do it.
Yep, and my parents were moving down here at the time. We were getting along. They were moving to Hobe Sound. I was moving to Jupiter. So, and then as, again, paying attention to signs and staying close to God. My neighbor across the street had a 2-year-old. Dylan was 2. She had just left her alcoholic husband, and she was doing it on her own. She was working in Jupiter, literally right across the street. She was working in marketing at the Jupiter Lighthouse. She's Australian. I shout her out in my book. I said, "Thank God for Australian."
She's got a really cool name.
Belle.
Belle, yeah.
And she was Australian, and like every time I tried to get really emotional about what was going on with Dylan, she was really good at keeping my spirits up in front of the kids and not letting Dylan absorb that. Because remember, I was still drinking then, so she was just really good. She was a positive influence for me, and she made me feel like I could do this on my own. And so I remember looking at finances, and it was tight. And because in Florida, you need first, last, and security to get a rental too. So I had to save up for that. But I promised myself the next time he drank, that was it. And then the next time he drank, as chance would have it, it wasn't even because of me. It was because of his 2 best friends. They came down and were drinking wine in front of him all night, like talking. And then the next morning, we went to take them to the airport. They had more drinks at brunch. We went to a work Halloween party for kids.
Yeah.
And he just went and drank a bottle of vodka without telling me. And
I was the parts in the book, well, so much of this I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I saw the iceberg of, I knew things couldn't be great because you would confide in me. You know, things aren't good. But then when they were okay, it was like, oh, no. That was like a thing, and now we're good.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I was like, okay, like, I'm pretty sure rehab isn't something like we just got to gloss over, but I think that's the way you survive.
That was what I learned from watching my parents. So see, my parents were like that, and my immediate family, we brushed things under the rug. So now that I've processed this in the book, I've realized that I was trying to repeat with Charles what I witnessed in my parents.
Right.
And what's sad this is why I'm not speaking to my sisters either, is because like Kim in particular, she saw that happening. She saw us in Vegas, how weird it was that he would drink and I would get mad and then I would go out and drink. And it's like we would like reverse on each other. And she was like, we have to get out of here. This is just weird. And they left early instead of being like, I need to take you out to breakfast and we need to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then when he died, it was like, oh my God, Mom, she's going to blow all the life insurance money. Well, you're 10 years older than me. How about hire me a financial advisor? How about come over and give me a fucking hug?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just like the blaming and the shaming was ridiculous. But
yeah. I do remember a couple times, and I'm a little younger than you, and I was like fresh out of college and newly married, so I didn't feel in any place to be giving you any sort of advice, but you would call me. And I remember thinking when you were trying for a second baby, I remember wanting to go like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you want to bring another baby into this? Like, are you sure you're happy? But saying that to somebody that you love and care about and you know wants that happy ending so badly, you want what they want for them. And sometimes, like, the people in our life can see things clearer than we can, but it's so painful to hear. And your family, I mean, I'm sure they loved you, but, like, just had really shitty delivery.
Yeah,
you know, like,
exactly.
You need a hug first and then advice.
Yeah.
Like, let's stop the bleeding and then maybe go, okay, like, what are we going to do with this?
Right.
You know, that's one thing my family in crisis is I have to give them a shout out. Like, my mom is amazing. She's, you know, always like, she's like, whatever you do, she believes in me so much. She's like, you're a good kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 33. You're a good kid, and you, like, have such good character that any decision you make, even if it isn't the one I would make, like, I trust you. And that gives you the confidence that I know that if I had to make a difficult decision, like, that they would have my back. And not having that is such a painful, like, it's one thing to go through something traumatic, but not go through it without an empathetic witness is...
Yeah. No, it's been crazy. That's why I'm doing this podcast and calling it Cruising Altitude, and not naming after the book, because people don't even know the half of what's gone on the past 2 years and how much I've been through completely alone. No immediate family, no husband, no Magellan Jets, who was that was like a codependent relationship too. For
yeah, they were family.
Yeah, exactly,
sort of,
exactly.
Yeah.
But it was again mimicking my that was the cycle I kept repeating.
Yeah.
But so now it would make sense why people like your family had such a positive impact, and that's what I mean. You don't know what an impact you have on people, and I needed positive inspiration. So I wanted to read this part.
That means so much. Okay, go.
So shortly after we moved here, I met Blakely's beautiful aunts from Miami for drinks. And I told them that I felt rushed to make something of myself down here because my clock was ticking. I guess I was thinking
at 38.
At 38.
Like,
37.
you're half dead.
Yeah. They confirmed that I was only 37 before saying that I was just getting started and not to sell myself short. And I remember it looked like exactly how they said it because it stuck with me. And they said that people would only now begin to take me seriously. And then I wrote, Blakely comes from a long line of incredibly inspiring females. Thank God I got to know some. Her mother is such a badass. She's been my idol for over a decade. The Wolf of Wall Street would have been a lot better if they had based a character on Blakely's mom. And her grandmother is a legend in her own right in Palm Beach. So, you are very lucky to have that big family and that support. And, I wanted that a lot growing up. But what's really cool is that now that I know that that wasn't it. Like, I might not even be at halftime yet. And I'm like so excited for the second half because family is not just where you come from, it's what you create. Mm-hmm. And Dylan's taking my name when he turns 13. So he'll be Dylan O'Shea. And my dad had 3 daughters. So I really caught the family name. And
you're like the patriarch.
Yeah, and I turned it around. And I can even envision Dylan's he's in amp math and doing fantastic. And he wants to go into finance. So first of all, I'm making a guy in finance, 6'5", blue eyes. That's fun.
Yeah.
Check. And I can even see like the family office of Dylan O'Shea. So, I mean, it's a big deal. Like I told you, I didn't know if there was going to be a rebound or a comeback. I wasn't sure if maybe I was just going to collect his Social Security and be like partially retired. That's how the book ends. But no, this is going to be like a major comeback. And it's for my family, the one that I'm creating. And Dylan wants to have a lot of kids, and that'll be great for me to be the grandma.
For 9.
Yeah, just don't tell him. Don't tell him otherwise.
Right. So at 9, I was going to be a marine biologist, and we all know how that turned out.
Right. He's also going to be like living with me until he gets married in Jupiter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we'll see. But I do feel like again, like I life has been restored in me, and I have hope again. So your aunts were right.
Hope is a powerful drug, and if it makes you feel any better, speaking of the powerful women in my family, you want to talk about a kickball change. Not to sell them out, but my mother's been married 3 times. My grandmother 4. We're not exactly we haven't all exactly followed this linear cookie cutter path. The stories they could tell you are beyond the life my mom has lived, the life my grandmother has lived. She was married to an Apollo 14 astronaut. So she has her own set of stories and traumas. And really any woman who's interesting or worth her salt, probably has been through some stuff. I think people who've never been through anything are a little boring and unfunny. Yeah. And I don't have anything in common with them. So, I don't wish any of those things to happen to anybody. But, they've made you grittier and funnier. And also when you get there, whatever that mountaintop is for you, you wouldn't appreciate to use your terminology, the rose if you didn't fall in shit. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the whole point. And that's what I say. And that's the point of me doing this, still trying to come back and grow my business. But I'm doing this to inspire other people who are, in a shitty marriage or in a shitty career and their midlife, to inspire them to, to go out there and chase the life that you believe you deserve, you know? I mean, and even now it's so funny because dabbling in dating, which is why I don't do it anymore, the amount of breadcrumbs that are just wishing to be distributed by men, no matter what age they are, is ridiculous. And I'm just grateful that I'm at the phase right now where I'm I'd rather starve than have breadcrumbs.
You're healthy enough to...
I love being alone. I just found myself. Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to tell people who are thinking of getting a divorce or anything, that time alone is really, really important. I'm sure it's something you might even crave these days. I was I wonder if she likes driving here because she's in the car by herself.
Well, I think whether or not you go through the divorce, I think every woman especially... I don't know how to say this without it seeming like we don't... I very much believe a marriage can be a healthy and holy thing. I think that's how God designed it, right? Not to Bible thumb. But I also think individually you need to be a healthy person. And a divorce is one of the ways to force you into that. But outside of that, I almost wanted to ask you before, if you could have at, 30, 35... sat down with yourself now, if Kelly now sat down with you then, besides being whoa girl, this is a lot. Yeah. Maybe less leaves and pumpkins, a little more therapy. Yes. If you could go back and hold the hand of your former self and tell her anything, what would you?
Yeah, I mean, I wish that, but the work would have been done before that, unfortunately. I think that there was so much work that still needed to be done in my 20s that I was grasping it in those journals that I write about in here. But then I was
so introspective in your journals. Yeah.
But then I'd be on to the next thing. It's like it never was long enough to stick until now. So now I've been over 4 years sober. And so now that's all starting to stick. And I've really now become the woman I was meant to be. But no, I really don't. I don't have any regrets. I'm grateful it went that way because, again, I have Dylan. And I believe that, like, Dylan and I are soulmates in some capacity. I think maybe that was the reason why my whole first half of life I was, like, on this mission for the child, like, no matter what. And, like, had to kind of stop at 30 or 29 even and be like, oh, my God, what are my options? Because I was like, and I even had the intuition to get my eggs checked as soon as Charles proposed, because if they said you need to do this now, I would have not done the wedding.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, no,
I think that's why you ignored the red flags with Charles and pushed through, because you just wanted that so badly.
Yeah, and I think that's why now I don't with men. And I mean, I know I need to, like, soften up a little bit, but I mean, I've just been so burned by them that I'm like, go away.
DMs. She doesn't want you.
Yeah, please go away.
I know she's like, looks really nice, and there are lots of good things to look at, but they're not for you.
No, I'm not posting the boobs for you slimy guys. Like, I'm just proud of how I look now. I'm almost 45. I look better now than I did in my 20s. That's for me.
Right.
So I mean, the whole thing was social media.
If I had them, I'd probably post them, but I'm not working with the same things you're working with. We got there's a disconnect here.
You have the new 90s blonde. We love the blonde.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe we'll get a job over there. There's a strip joint not too far from here, and I said, Kelly, if times are tough, I can always fall back on.
That's right. I'm like, it reminds me every day that, hey, at least I didn't end up there.
I mean, all power to the women. I'm sure you're very hardworking. It's the matinee shift right now, so I'm sure they're very hardworking. It's just probably
legs and eggs. That's what
she's never not a publicist. Never not a publicist. Anyway, I'm really proud of. To circle. I'm proud of the work you've done. I'm proud of the son you're raising.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have been witness to the trajectory, and I can't wait to see what you do in the next 10 years. And no, you're not even halfway there.
Yeah.
Like you're so young in the grand scheme of things.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. So where can people find you?
Oh, well, if you'd like to find me, you can find me at Fake Lips Real Talk.
Because we're all about being authentic.
Yes, I will tell the truth no matter how much it hurts.
These were sponsored by Charles and his life insurance. So since we're being honest,
thanks, Charles, for so many things. Dylan,
I wanted that mommy makeover, and I got it.
Yeah, the lips are fake, but the talk is real. That's where you can find me, mostly on Instagram. Fake Lips Real Talk.
All right. Well, thanks, girl.
Thank you, Boo. Good to see you.
You too.